Hi, welcome to the Crafts channel. My name's Corinne Brad and today I want to show you how to make some quite cute elephant purses out of metallic faux leather. Now this stuff, I really like this stuff. It's so flexible. It really does look like leather. And you can do what you do with things, you know, what you could make out of leather, you can make it out of this faux leather and it lasts really, really well. So we'll have a template for these in the description below, and they are just a very simple change purse, or you could get a contact lens case in there and a lipstick. More quirky than anything else, but you need a piece of faux leather. This piece is about 30 centimetres by 17 centimetres, and you need your template. Now, if you pop your template in the middle of this piece of leather and you grab a soft pencil, now this is just an ordinary artist pencil, this is about a 4B, and just draw around the template onto the fabric side of your faux leather. And this drawn line will become your stitching line. Like so. What you need to do is you need to put a zip in the spine of your elephant, because this is all made from one continuous piece. Let's have a look. Yeah, about 10 centimetres should do it. If you lay a ruler against the straight part of your elephant and make a mark at 0 and 10 centimetres, and then from that centre line, if you then draw parallel lines 5 mil either side of that centre line, like so, to make a channel. And then what you want to do is you're going to cut that channel out. Just going to extend that up to this cut line here. Now, I've tried cutting fabric with a scalpel and ruler, and in all honesty it's not particularly successful because you can't keep your fabric flat enough to stop the scalpel dragging on it, but you should be able to just cut the two end slots, and then you can run down those long lines with a pair of scissors. I have realised I've got an exceptionally sharp blade in this scalpel, so do you know what? Oh, look at that. I can do it. But if you're using a papercraft knife, you will find that the blade will be too blunt to successfully cut that fabric. Just like, you know, you should never use your fabric scissors on paper. The wood pulp fibres in paper, just blunt blades, something rotten. So you've got a slot. And then you need to put a zip in this slot here. Now, I don't know about you, I have got very few 10 centimetre long zips at home. I've got plenty of other zips that I'm unlikely to ever use. So, I'm just going to open this zip and just quickly stitch this open end together so I know that it isn't going to come apart. While I'm sewing it, you only need a couple of stitches, and you don't have to be too particular because it will be hidden by the faux leather. In a perfect world, you would, of course, when making any of these projects, you would use thread that matched the materials that you're working in. I have got 197 reels of white cotton, so that's what I'm using. So line this up, and you want the end of your zip to be about 10.5 centimetres away from the top. And just simply bind the zip teeth together at that point. And then take your best dressmaking scissors And if this is a metal zip, do not use your best dressmaking scissors. Just cut the end of the zip off like that. But the piece that is good is going to sit underneath the slot that you've cut. So grab yourself a decent fabric glue. You don't want anything that's too wet because you want it to tack, you know, hold onto the zip quite quickly. Take your zip, closed with the zip pull nearest the head, lay it over the slot and then flip it the right way up, and before the glue dries, just adjust the zip within that letterbox so it looks nice and neat. And avoid the temptation to rub it, because there is a certain amount, well, you can see I say a certain amount of give. You've got a lot of give in that pleather or faux leather, and then you just need to secure it. You can put a zipper foot on your sewing machine, or you can cheat, which is what I do on a regular basis, and just leave your machine on a straight stitch, but move your stitch dial, the width dial, to about 4, so your needle goes over to the left. Make sure that you've got a zigzag foot on there, because if you've just got a straight stitch foot, the minute you bring that needle down and it doesn't hit the centre circle, it will break the needle. Start at the end of the zip, sew around the letterbox, using your machine foot as a guide to your stitch placement. When you get up to near where the zip pull is, just open it. Easier said than done. And carry on sewing. Now if I'm honest, I've made a complete hash of sewing that zip in there because my foot was resting on the zip and not next to the zip teeth. So what's happened is, instead of having an even border all the way around, we're just going to gloss over that because the desire to do it correctly was there. I was just in a hurry. And those remaining bits of zip, but make sure you don't trim off where you've actually bound the edges. So you're thinking, right, okay, well, she's got a zip in the middle of a piece of fabric. What now? Well, what now is you open your zip and you fold the fabric in half on the zip. And then you need to pin the pieces together. Now, because this is a fake leather, you don't want to pin it inside, because any marks that you make in the plastic, you will never be able to get rid of. And this is why we don't cut the elephant out beforehand. We just pin it on the outside, because these bits are the bits that are going to be cut away. Turn those round so that they actually run in the direction that I'm going to sew it. And then just cut away this excess piece of leather. And then before we stitch this, you want to grab yourself a piece of this excess leather. Let's see. Yeah, cut yourself a piece of the leftover, about 10 centimetres square. Fold it in half to make a piece 5 by 10 and just finger press it. And then glue. So I was just thinking about a completely different project then for a minute, where I didn't glue the ears completely. You can of course glue this together with a bit of fusible interfacing, but the danger is in ironing leather like this, because you don't want to melt your leather. But you do want to make sure that that crease is pretty good. And then you want to take an elephant ear template and something like, this is a Sakura gel pen, works really well on pleather. Put the long edge of the ear against the fold and just draw around it. There's one, turn it over, there's the other. And I'm just going to put that to one side for the glue and the ink to completely dry. Right, so you've pinned your fabric together, your zip is open, put your needle back to the central position. Actually, undo that zip a little tiny bit because you need that flat. And then use that pencil line that you've drawn as your stitching line. Just take it carefully around the curves. Because remember, on a project that's this small, any sort of discrepancy that you've got in your stitching line is going to show up more than would normally on like a home deck project or something like that. You know, if you need to, turn the flywheel by hand on tricky curves. To the top. So you've sewn all the way around this line, and because you've left the zip open, you can turn him the right way round through the zip hole. Let's trim that off. And then you simply want to trim. You only need about 3mm seam allowance. And you don't really need to clip into curve, but you do need to clip that piece there. And you do need to clip the curve of his trunk, like so. Let's cut those corners off. And then you can turn him inside out. As I say, if you get a good quality faux leather, you can be pretty brutal with it, really. It doesn't mind, you know, being grabbed by your fingernails and pushed through. Doesn't mind being poked with a knitting needle. I mean, don't be excessively harsh on it. But you will need a knitting needle to get right into the bend of that trunk. And then what you can do at this point, and which I would have done at this point if I'd remembered to turn the iron on beforehand, is if you pop this on an ironing board under a press cloth and just give it a press just to get that seam accurate like I've done on this one here. But it's not imperative. But it does put a better curve on the trunk, if I'm honest. And then because you're going to use this as a purse, you're never going to have, or you're never going to want anything going down into the trunk of your elephant. So grab yourself a couple of tiny black buttons. And a needle and thread, preferably with a knot in the bottom of it. And sew straight through the head of the elephant. Pop a button on the other side and sew back through. Cover the knot with a second button. And go back in. Oh, look, I've used a double length thread here. And that's better. And fasten it off. And then you can just pop the thread inside your elephant. And cut the tail off on the inside. And that way you haven't got any random bits of cotton hanging around. So there's his eye. And then we'll go back to this hopefully dry piece of faux leather and cut each ear out. Grab your glue, run a decent amount of glue along the top folded part of your ear. Just going to prop that up so it doesn't explode all over the place. And fix the ears to the elephant. If you think this is going to have heavy usage, you might want to secure those ears with a couple of stitches just down this part here. And there you go. Little collection of elephant purses. And as I say, if you have a look around at the faux leather you can get, there are some great colours. I mean, there was one, my emergency one that I made, which is a lovely oxblood colour. This bronze is really nice. And as I say, the template for the elephant and the ears will be in the description below. So have fun with that. I mean, that's a great project you can knock up for favours for children's parties or school fetes, that kind of stuff, or charity organisations. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope you'll come and see us again very, very soon, because we've got more stitching videos for you coming all the time. Thank you very much for watching. If you've been inspired to create, please share your makes with us in the comments section below. And if you've enjoyed videos by the Crafts channel, hit the like button. Want to see more of us? Then click subscribe. See you next time.